Okay, let's start with a story. It's an old Taoist farmer story. There was once a farmer in ancient Chinese village who owned a horse. Owning a horse was a big thing in that village, right? So his neighbors used to say, "Oh, you're so lucky, you have a horse that pulls your cart for you." And the farmer used to reply by saying, "Maybe." So one day, the farmer forgot to lock the main gate, and the horse kind of ran off. His neighbors came back to him the next day to express their condolences. "Oh, we're so sad to hear of this terrible news. You're so unlucky. This is really sad what happened to you." And the farmer would say, "Well, maybe." A few days later, the horse returned and brought back 6 wild horses with him. His neighbors were there again. They were there to express their joy and happiness, and like, "How fantastic, you're so lucky, now you're rich." And the farmer would say, "Maybe." And the following week, the farmer's son was breaking in one of the wild horses, and when he was doing that, he fell off the horse and broke his leg. And the neighbors were there again. I guess you know the pattern now, right? The neighbors are very nosy. So they were there again, and they were like, "Oh no, you're so unlucky. What bad luck. Your son broke his leg." And the farmer said, "Maybe." Next day, the Chinese soldiers came and took away all the young men in the village to fight in a war. And the farmer's son was not selected because of his broken leg. And his neighbors came back again. "Oh, you're so lucky, you know." And the farmer said, "Maybe." So namaste, guys. I'm Bhuvan. I'm representing Cosmi Nepal. I'm here again with another awesome learn and grow session. As you know, we do this every Friday. And we're a platform focused on learning, growing, and transforming. Today, we're going to be talking about happiness. Perfect topic, right? I know. It's only because we really care about you. We've selected this topic just for you. So, happiness is a state. I see it as a combination of physiological, mental, and emotional components. Some may feel completely relaxed and happy when listening to their favorite songs. Another person may appear to be happy when she or he is at a gym doing some exercises, lifting some weights, and doing some hard stuff. Yet another person may feel happy when, being in a crowded place or just talking to people and socializing. And of course, we've also met people, who are for whom happiness means meditating and getting in touch with their intuition, or self-reflection, introspection, stuff like that. But what you need to keep in mind is happiness may be experienced in small packages. It could last for a moment, an hour or two, and in some cases, I feel it could last a lifetime. And it really could. Happiness doesn't always appear in your life due to your achievements, nor because of any solid events or out of ordinary outcomes. Happiness does not necessarily have to be a result of your wealth, success, or obvious outside circumstances. And since we're talking about NLP says that happiness is, in fact, dependent on how we process the external information and how we process our experiences. The external reality of our experience is not responsible for our happiness, but what story do we tell ourselves about these experiences, and how we perceive them will have a major role to play. Authors of a book called Know How, Leslie Cameron Bandler, David Gordon, say that the art in having happiness is in wanting what you get. And I feel I cannot communicate the art of achieving happiness any better than this. Achieving happiness is an active process. So, what actions should be taken? When we go through an experience, we need to look at our options. What choices do we have? What options do we have? And make our choices based on all the concrete information available to us. When we're making these choices, we need to have a solid grasp on what gives us maximum benefit compared to what gives us the least. As professional coaches, we examine strategies of our clients and help our clients explore what actually is working for them and what strategies are not working for them. When they know which strategies work for them and which don't, this will help them guide them towards what they feel are strategies that could take them towards their desired outcome, towards their happiness. We coach people with powerful questions, and I'll just share some examples for you in the screen. Just give me a sec. Okay, so these are some of the examples, right? So I can read out all the questions for you as examples. How do you respond to situations which have not gone according to your plan? How in sync are you with yourself and your desired outcome? How does happiness feel like for you? What does happiness look like for you? How autonomous do you feel in achieving or retaining happiness? What are some of the things you notice on a daily basis? What is your strategy for creating good or bad memories? What are some of the feelings you have about people around you? What are some of the things you have in your life that give you meaning, purpose, or pleasure? Right? And these are just some of the examples. And there are plenty more, along with tools, right? These powerful questions create insights, self-awareness, realizations, etc. You can try asking these questions to yourself. And this may work, but when these are asked by a coach or a professional, along with other tools that keep you focused on your desired outcome and keep you away from your limiting, distorted beliefs, results can be magical. If you listen carefully to these questions, you'll see some recurring themes to the whole set. So what are these themes? Awareness and choices. So these are very important themes when you're considering achieving your happiness. When you are aware of what is happening around you, when you spot all the emotions that are driving you, and you witness all concrete choices that are available to you, you obtain the power to create your state of happiness. Let's suppose Ram has been working as a sales executive in an organization for many years. Right? Ram feels that he's an important part of the department that he is in, and he holds a strong belief that he's really good at what he does. But he's chosen to stay exactly where he is, in his comfort zone, and he has been in this position for years. And he's seen many of his colleagues and many managers come and go. And this has started to have an effect on him. After a few years, he feels that he deserves to be moving up. But he keeps telling himself that he's always been discriminated against, or he's simply unlucky, or the management is biased against him. However, every time he talks about his organization, he seems to only focus on the times he was disappointed, underappreciated, or exploited. All of his friends and family feel that they're tired of hearing these stories. They've heard these negative stories too often, and they don't want to be bothered by him anymore. Right? He always feels bitter and neglected. However, he always refrains from taking any actions about it or saying anything directly to the concerned person when he feels used or victimized. Now let's consider another scenario. Rita. Rita had a hard life, looking after her 2 kids as a single mother. She was constantly under pressure, and obviously she struggled to create a solid saving during her prime of her life. She would sometimes snap at her small kids out of frustrations, but she was also quick to apologize to them, saying, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that, I snapped and I'll try to do better next time. She was very quick to apologize to them. But she's now over 60 years of age and is supporting herself through pension, right? So her granddaughter comes and, asks her about her life, and, without slightest of hesitation, she tells her, I feel I've been very lucky. She tells her she has two wonderful and supportive children who've been the foundation of her life. She's always had roof over her head, food on her table, and she has amazing grandkids. She tells her she's had some unsettling, challenges in her life. But she feels she would not change one single thing because she loves where she sees herself today. As a sales executive, Ram felt used and victimized. Even when he felt exploited, he chose to suppress his resentments and did not see any point in expressing his frustrations to the right people. Over the years, he allowed his resentments to fester and found himself carrying these limiting beliefs that he's unlucky or a victim of discrimination. On the other hand, Rita could have felt bitter about her life too. Life had dealt some harsh challenges her way, but she saw no point in only complaining about them. She sometimes felt angry, but she was also quick to acknowledge her faults regarding her snappy responses or any other uh, faults she considered to be her mistakes, and then learn from them. She had made a very powerful generalization about her life. She felt she was lucky and focused on all the good things in her life. She believed that challenges were part of her life and saw them bringing her to the wonderful state she was in today. And here are some tips, right? If you observe something bothering you or frustrating you, act to resolve the issue. If you are not capable of doing anything about it, do not overthink it. You can do something to change your undesired situation, do it. Otherwise, do not keep stressing about it. Now, self talk. Let's talk about self talk. You are imprinting, you are imprinting something in your subconscious mind every time you say something to yourself. Right? If you're imprinting everything you say to your subconscious as a reality, it is very important that you scrutinize your self talk and try and imprint positive reality into your subconscious mind. When you feel that certain things, people, or situations continuously contributes towards, your negativity, your mental state, happiness, or your overall well-being, take concrete steps towards changing it. Now, we've like all of us in our lives, we've seen plenty of examples of people we know who have left their jobs, they've left their relationships, homes, and some people have even left their countries because they made them constantly stressed and unhappy. But a lot of these people took these concrete steps without a lot of clarity on what they would want to be doing next. But clarity is very vital, it's important. Whether you end up designing a future you really want or love, or one that limits you in many ways, depends mostly on the clarity you have about what you really want. Your self talk and how your self talk affects you, or how it affects your awareness of what's actually happening around you, is essential for clarity. But clarity in what you want is vital. Now, congruence. You have to live in congruence. Living in congruence is being in tune with your complete self. When you feel what you're doing now is in congruence with your higher purpose, your identity, your beliefs and values, you're witnessing yourself living in a life of complete congruence. This requires you to be aware of what you really want from life, how you see yourself contributing to the world around you. How do you identify yourself? How do you want others to perceive you or to talk about you? And finally, do you have the capabilities or skills? And do you have the behaviors and the environment to support what you want? This demands you to be aware of your experiences, how they could reflect on who you really are and want to be. And you need to respect them. These awareness will also guide you towards the appropriate actions you should be taking to get you to your happiness, to get you to your desired outcome. Ram, in our previous example, as we saw or heard, Ram did not show any respect towards his own experiences, towards his own feelings or emotions. When he refused to listen to his negative feelings and suppress them, he lost his congruency. His refusal to acknowledge his negative beliefs was a source for his limiting self talk, and pushed him towards complaining about his organization for a long time. Rita, on the other hand, faced her challenges and got on with her life. Right? Her focus was always on the present and the future. Her present and the future is where she could actually influence things. Focusing on the past and feeling like a victim was not going to get her anywhere. And this is very loud and clear to her. Right? So, yeah, let's talk about realities now. We all build our own realities in our subconscious mind. What NLP does is NLP analyzes how we build our personal realities and present them to you, or to present them to us for our own better understanding. It helps us see how we structure our subjective experiences and tells us what actions should be taken to help us shift towards the reality that we truly love. One way of creating your ideal reality is to reframe the current ones. And all of us do this. All of us reframe unconsciously or subconsciously. And this is an effective tool. This is an effective tool to deal with the avalanche of situations that are not going our way, that are not going according to our plan. It can be really hard, if not impossible, for us to live life without going crazy, without reframing, because our lives are so unpredictable. Reframing is a tool that all of us use unconsciously. But if we're conscious about it and if we try and use it effectively, it becomes an amazing tool to take us towards our happiness. So an example of reframing would be, Rita's reframing about her life made her feel lucky. Ram's reframe created, at least for him, an utterly negative perspective. At least negative perspective around his organization, about his organization. Now, if we are bound to construct and create our own reality, why not create it in a way that makes us happy, or happier? If you feel like your boss is giving you way more responsibilities than your colleague, it's not because he hates you, but maybe it's because he has noticed that you get things done. Or your reframe could be, or maybe life is preparing you for something more important, or amazingly significant thing. Or maybe life is preparing you for something amazingly significant. Let's say you've just had a breakup. It could be life preparing you for someone who is actually awesome and someone who actually deserves you. And of course, this is not a fact, or this may not be a fact. But again, even the alternatives may not be facts. So if none of them are truly facts, why not choose the one that makes you happy? You just got dumped by your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and if you think you were dumped because you were not good enough, can you honestly say that you not being good enough is a fact? Of course not. If you're making up things in your mind anyway, why not make the ones that empower you? Why not make the ones that makes you happy, makes you feel good about yourself? Right? There are many other tools that NLP offer that any individual can use to make her or him happier, more productive, a better communicator, more aware, more empathetic, and a whole lot more. NLP also offers, plenty of tools for business leaders, how to influence your team and get things done, how to create win-win situations, so that everyone on your team feels like a winner. How do you build rapport with employees or customers? How to find employee that is right for you? How to find employees that is right for your organization? How to deliver your proposal in the most effective way, and many, many more. Right? As you obviously realize, it's not possible for me to list them all here. But if you want to see more of these tools custom designed for business professionals, marketing executives, business leaders, business owners, organization leaders, or someone who's just wants to better herself or better himself, please feel free to talk to one of our team members at Coach Me Nepal. I'll see there. I'll see if there are any comments, questions. Sometimes if there's no comments from guess we get comments from our backstage staff. Okay, our backstage staff are busy doing their own thing, right? So this brings us to the end of the program. If you have feedback, do throw them at us. Feedbacks are like our fuel, right? They energize us, they keep us going. If you have suggestions on the type of content you want, again, tell us. If you have ideas to share, knowledge to teach, give us a yell. But for now, I have to say goodbye. Until we meet again, take
Ready भएर बस्यो। अघिदेखि रेडी थिएँ।